Hello everyone, my name is Lynn. Welcome to my channel. I made a video recently called Asian Men Are Bitter and That's Why Asian Women Don't Like You. And in that video, I kind of go in on some of these Asian men who tend to have incelish behaviors. And I'm trying to explain that your actions and your attitude are what women are attracted to. So if you act like an incel, then it's no wonder that no women like you. A lot of the comments were like, oh, Asian women ridicule Asian men for this, and Asian men lost the genetic lottery because blah, blah, blah. Those comments are just excuses, are trying to blame others for their problems, and are reinforcing this idea that Asian men are inferior. None of the comments seem to have addressed what I really wanted to get to at the heart of that video, which we're going to be talking about today, is why is it that Asian women must date Asian men? That is a question of the day. No one mentioned anything about shared cultural values. No one mentioned anything about work ethic. No one mentioned anything about stability and planning for the future, which leads me to think that those people who think that Asian women are obligated to date Asian men should do so simply because it is an Asian man and look at race and nothing else. And that is fucking racist. Could you imagine saying that to Black or Latino or white people? Stick to your own race. We need to build up the population of pure-blooded Asians. Don't we think that the white people who are afraid of race mixing and the overtaking of the white majority are racist? And fuck those miscegenation laws that were once illegal up until like the 60s. Imagine what the people who fought against anti-miscegenation would think about is what is happening right now. Stick to your own race? For what? What obligation do I have to date an Asian man simply because they're Asian? After I made that video, I was very interested to get my mom's perspective on this because all of us, she has 5 children, only one of us, my brother, is dating a Chinese woman, and the rest of us, girls, are married to white guys. But we have dated Vietnamese people in the past. She herself is mixed. She is half French. And the reason she is half French is because she was born a year before the French left Vietnam. So my mom is a direct product of imperialization, and she was in an arranged marriage with my dad. And I'm not trying to put my family's fucking business out there, but I want to paint a picture with where I'm coming from with this, because typically what happens with those Asian girls is that it comes from the parents. The parents drill it into their kids so much that they have to assimilate to be white or American, right? That they start to glorify white features, and that's where you get that tension. And when I asked her how she felt about us all having white husbands, she was like, I don't give a fuck. She said, you can't help who you love. And considering that there's not very many Asian people in the US, you can't expect your kids to only go after Asian people. If there's majority white people, it makes sense that your pool of dating can expand to that. She said, I don't care what kind of race you date, as long as you're happy and as long as that person is a good person, takes care of you, all the list of good qualities that a parent would want their child to find in a partner. I personally have not dated Vietnamese specifically, but some of my older sisters have. She said that she liked that there was no language barrier, that she could communicate more freely in how she wants to communicate without having to expect someone to translate on her behalf. And some of those cultural values were different. She gave the example, my sister's partner observed that they did not have a blender. So he just bought my parents one. He didn't ask if they needed a blender, but he took it upon himself to be generous enough to purchase something like that for them because he wants my parents to have the full necessities of the kitchen. Something like that, A lot of Americans don't do that. But it turns out, not to air out my sister's business, but he turned out to be a total fucking piece of shit. So actually, in that case, just because he's Vietnamese doesn't mean it's all peaches and cream. You can still be a terrible person even if you are the same race. She mentioned something that was interesting as well, where we see that culture starts to differ from race. She was like, man, it actually kind of sucks to date another Vietnamese person specifically, especially if you have Vietnamese daughters dating Vietnamese sons, because you have that shared culture and the parents tend to come from an immigrant traditional kind of background. That means that you also have to follow all of the traditional relationship shit that comes in the culture, even if you're in the States. So if it's 2 Vietnamese people who are dating each other, then it's not just the 2 of them, it's the parents involved. And if you have a Vietnamese daughter, then you have to impress the son's family so that they can accept your daughter into their family and, you know, this and that. So it's a lot of games being played. It's a lot of saving face. It's a lot of the stuff that's just kind of fluff. It doesn't actually impact the marriage once the two people are alone and have their own family to deal with. My mom was like, and who wants to deal with that? And remember, she has 4 daughters. So she's like, who wants to fucking deal with that 4 different times? What people also don't understand, we're keeping it very surface level by just focusing on race. When it comes to Asian people, race does not really matter. It matters more about nationality and ethnicity. So when it comes to nationality, we're all in the States. So after that, we go drill down to ethnicity. That's why my mom specifically talks about dating Vietnamese. For instance, I dated a Filipino guy once. It's almost as if you're dating someone of a different race in that case, because the values even between Filipino and Vietnamese people can differ a little bit. They have different traditions in the Filipino world, and just like how there's different traditions in Vietnamese and Chinese and different ethnic groups within China, so on and so forth. So the fascination of race in the case of dating, specifically with interracial dating with Asians, it is insignificant because not all Asians are the same. Wow, what a shock. I agree with my mom in that in a country like America, where granted it is a melting pot of cultures, the reality is that there's only so many of different races. So you can't expect, if you're in the minority, that you could find another minority. I mean, obviously it's possible, but I don't think we should automatically jump to dating the same race simply because. If we look at the US population of Asians in America, it's about roughly 6%. And then to further segment that out to men and women, then cut that in half, that's 3%. So in a country where I'm 3% of the population, I should seek out the other 3% simply because they are the same 3% that I am. I also acknowledge that I'm on the West Coast as well, which tends to have more Asian people in general. My local area has 8% Asian population, which is more than the national average. But if you even want to take it at that, if it's 8, then it's 4%. Why should I go after the 4% when there's 96% of people who may be equally as great of partners and simply cut them off simply because of race? There are plenty of different races that share similar ethics and morals and values to Asian people, and also that's also assuming that an Asian person holds Asian values intrinsically. That may not be true because there are plenty of bananas out there in the world. There's nothing wrong with not having Asian values as an Asian person. We're in America. We're not in fucking Asia anymore. Like that you cannot, and then to even drill down, Asian culture, what does that even mean? I understand that I cannot be fully Vietnamese and I cannot fully be American at the same time. That's what makes culture so unique. So assuming that an Asian person has Asian values contributes to the perpetual foreigner kind of stereotype that is placed on a lot of Asian Americans. And if you only care about looks, instead of the value and character that people have, you care only that your partner has the same eye shape as you do, is so superficial. What the fuck? Like, are you serious? Even taking aside the racial component, that's fucked up to only care about looks when there is so much more to a person. Looks fade. So I think her cultural literacy, even though she was born in the 50s, born in a different country with different intrinsic values from an Eastern perspective, she understands a lot of Western culture, and none of that had anything to do with being white. She understood that it mattered more what country you're in and what values that country has that then influences how people date as opposed to the race itself. All right, so let's use me as an example. I'm Vietnamese American and I was born in the 90s. As far as my interests, I like to play video games, specifically Japanese role-playing games. I like to watch Naruto, so I like to watch anime. I like to eat Asian food, but it doesn't have to be. As long as it is high in calories and carbs, then I will enjoy it. And as far as music goes, I like to listen to music with screaming in it. So I like to listen to metal, hardcore, punk, what a normal person might call screamo. And what I find is that I connect with other Asian men when it comes to like the weeaboo stuff, like the anime and the video games. But when it comes to my alternative lifestyle of being a little bit more edgy, that's where I start to see less interest from Asian men. I'm sure there are plenty of Asian men who have those same interests, but we're talking about America specifically. So let's remember, Asians are 6% of the population. Split that in half. 3% Asian women, 3% Asian men. So there's 3% of Asian men that I could select from. But if I value my partner having similar interests than I do, and it's important to me that when we are in the car, driving somewhere far, or even going to the grocery store, that if I want to put on a song with screaming in it, that he won't mind. It would be preferable that he might like it a little bit too. So then you take that 3% and then you had to drill down even further. And then where do they live? Do they live near me? Are they accessible to me? If they're not here, would they be willing to move for me? Would I be willing to move for them? And then interest to me is just one very, 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 very shallow part of what I look for in a partner. That person would have to have good qualities to them as a human. It's not enough that they are Asian and that they like the same music as I do, because those are superficial qualities. I want them to be good people who are compatible with me as a person. Drill down even further. So what really are my options? Asian men may not like that I have a lot of tattoos. Doing the robot here. Asian men may not like my weight. They might think I'm too fat for them. Asian men may not like that I wear makeup. Asian men may not like that I curse so fucking much. And those qualities have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with me being Asian. How can you tell me and other people who maybe like me or may have similar kinds of dilemmas with finding a person who they're really compatible with, that they should only date within their race? Isn't it hard enough to just date in general? Do I have to start filtering out by race? Like, I've never used Tinder before, but is there an option to filter out all of your results that you get by race, and you check, okay, I want only white, or I only want black, or I only want Middle Eastern, or what? We should not look at people as simply for what they look like and what their race is. People have very unique cultures and ways that they were brought up in life, their lifestyle choices that they make, and some are objectively better than others. I personally would not want to date a loser incel who complains on the internet all the time about how the same women of their same race don't want to date them. Also, before I wrap up this video, I have one thing to say for the commenters who, you can say anything about me. People said that I was a disgusting human being, but the moment you mention my fucking husband and try to attack him simply because you don't like my opinion, that is where I draw the line. I will not tolerate disrespect to my husband because he has nothing to do with this conversation. So if you leave comments like that and you think it's okay to say shit like that, then go fuck yourself. Literally, fuck you. It reveals to me that you are such a miserable person that you don't like what someone else has to say, that you start to attack everything about them, including the innocent people in their lives who are good people. Just because you don't like what someone has to say, you don't know me. You only know the persona that I put out on my videos, and I try to be as real as possible, but you can only get to know someone through a camera in a few minutes with your own personal bias already going into the video. So don't try to claim to say anything about my fucking husband. You can leave all your comments all you want about me. Go ahead. Go ahead. But don't ever say anything about my husband on my platform. My husband is supportive. He takes care of me. He is considerate of me. He is intelligent. He works his fucking ass off. He is hilarious. And he is a wonderful human being. And I will never let anyone reduce him to his race just because he is white. I don't look at him as a white person, because I don't care about that shit. I care about him for all the reasons that I just mentioned. Do those things have anything to do with being white? I don't think so. And if you think that certain personality types are tied to race specifically, then that makes you a racist person. You think it's okay to reduce people to their race because that's the only way that you can feel better about yourself. And I don't care what race you are if you're commenting that kind of bullshit. Bullshit is bullshit, period. No matter what race you are. You're a fucking racist, miserable piece of shit. I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I will keep saying it as long as there are people who think it's okay to leave nasty comments like that. It's not your race, but it's your attitude and your actions that make you unappealing to women. And you wonder why no one likes you. Anyway, that was kind of a follow-up to the video that I made before. I still stand by what I said, and I understand that people who are angry like that will always be angry. People who are miserable just love to be fucking loud and just comment shit. So it's okay. I feel secure in myself. I'm the one that's married here, not like these people who seem to be single and leave fucking comments on YouTube. So there's that. But anyway, if you like this video, then make sure to give this video a like. If you really like this video and you would like to support me as a content creator, then you can give this video a super thanks. That would be super appreciated. Subscribe to my channel and make sure your notifications are turned on. And with that, I will see you in my next video. Peace out.